Welcome to Comic Power. I am your host, Comic Killer 72. This segment today is called Wicked Wednesday. If you didn't know, Wednesday is the new release for new comics that come out every week. These are my recommendations on the best books to pick up for Wednesday, and I also will name one book to be a speculation pick of the week to invest in. Comic publishers are stepping up their game for your entertainment value. So let's get right into it. First up is Batman Superman number 32 from DC Comics, which is going to a second printing. DC is killing off the New 52 and they're going to bring about Rebirth. However, the ramifications in this book may blend into the new Rebirth series. Next up is Batman and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 2. This is going to a fourth printing. This miniseries has been a runaway success for DC. The brand of Batman and TMNT are both iconic, and this sketch variant is gorgeous. But wait, that's not all. Batman TMNT number 3 is going to a third printing, and it looks like this. Shredder is the arch enemy of the Turtles, so of course he has to show up. That brings us to Batman TMNT number 4, which is going to a second printing. In this issue, Batman takes the Turtles to Wayne Manor, and he explains to them his origin and why he became Batman. Batman TMNT is a 6-part miniseries, so ask your local comic dealer to go ahead and put number 5 and number 6 on your pull list so you can get the first print and you don't have to pay an arm and a leg for them later. That brings us to DC Comics Presents Rebirth number 1. This is DC admitting that the New 52, which they did in 2011, was a colossal failure. So they're cutting back to around 32 titles. 15 of those will be Batman or Superman related. So they're doubling down on a cornerstone of the DC universe. In addition, they are demoting Jim Lee. Jim Lee is a scapegoat in all of this because comic book insiders say that the New 52 was his idea, where they threw out all the continuity and everything was going to be dark. Jim Lee is a fantastic artist. He is one of the best of all time. But he's a very, very, very weak writer. If you remember the stuff he did back in the 90s, such as Wildcats, it was all lame and pretty predictable, but it had splash pages, so we bought it. The new guy in charge is Jeff Johns. Not only is he in charge of what the comics do, he's going to be in charge of the movie division as well. So he's DC's equivalent of Kevin Feige, who's running things over at Marvel. Meanwhile, Jim Lee is going to be the writer for Scooby Doo. Yes, Jim Lee will be the writer for Scooby Doo. Like I said, he's getting demoted, and this is his punishment. It's pretty funny, actually. Could you ever imagine legends like Frank Miller or George Perez getting busted down to write for Scooby Doo? I don't think so, but it has happened to Jim Lee, and like I said, this is his punishment. And it probably went something like this. Yo, dude, we have you under contract. We really don't want to fire you because it would be embarrassing for all of us. We'll just demote you. Now let me stop clowning Jim Lee and back to our regular scheduled program. And that's Superman number 52. This issue was supposed to come out a couple of weeks ago. It got pushed back. It's worth having because it's the final issue of the New 52 Superman. The writer Peter J. Tomasi deserves an Eisner. Now let's check out what's going on over at Marvel. And that would be Captain America, Steve Rogers number 1. If you've been reading the comics, the Falcon has been upgraded to Captain America when Steve Rogers could no longer do it. Now Steve Rogers is back because comics. He's got knee pads and the shield is similar to the 1940s Captain America. This Steve Epting art looks good on this variant as well. I would consider this more of a curiosity number 1 pickup rather than following the title every month. The action figure variant looks good if you can get it for cheap. Next up is Marvel Civil War 2 number 0 going to a second printing. This will be Marvel's big summer crossover. They do one every year, and this year they're doing Civil War Part 2. The key players are Iron Man, War Machine, She-Hulk, and Captain Marvel. Marvel's doing a lot to raise the profile of Captain Marvel so that she's not so unknown when her 2019 movie drops. Captain Marvel will be Marvel's first female lead with her own movie. Next up is Deadpool number 12, and they're bringing back Deadpool 2099, also something called a Zenpool. Is it just me or do these characters look a lot like Spawn? I imagine that comic creators are running out of ideas, so they're stealing designs from each other. But anywho, go ahead and pick up Deadpool number 12. Pick up Deadpool every month. It's a hilarious read because you can do anything with the character at this point. Next up is Extraordinary X-Men number 10. This is part of the Apocalypse Wars saga, and it's been well received. Issue number 8 has already gone into a second printing, and the first print selling for about $10 on eBay. Next up is Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur number 7. This may look like kid stuff, but you should be paying attention to this title. In this issue, it looks like that she may be turning into a human, which could be a key issue for the future. I could see this character being used in a cartoon. You can pick up Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur number 1 for cover price. I would do so right now. This is a good starter book if you have a daughter you're trying to get into comics, but it could be a good future investment as well. Next up is Spider-Man Deadpool #1, which is going to a 5th printing. I plead the 5th. You're only going to get that joke if you used to watch a Chappelle show like me. This team up has been so popular that not only issue 1 has gone to reprints, but issues 2, 3, and 4 have as well. Shown here is the cover to issue #5, which is a first print, so add this series to your pull list if you haven't already. No real surprise here. Spider-Man is Marvel's most popular character ever. Deadpool is their most popular character right now, so they're the ultimate odd couple because Spider-Man is all about responsibility and Deadpool is about irresponsibility. Next up is Star Wars #19. I shouldn't have to convince you to buy a Star Wars book. It's awesome, okay? Don't think about it, just buy it. Next up is Nighthawk #1. This is not on my recommendation list. I repeat, I am not recommending this. This looks horrible. It's trying to be dark and gritty, but it looks like a spoof of superheroes, like something from The Tick, like a poor man's Moon Knight or something. The outfit looks ridiculous. There's too many street level characters that do this type of thing. This series is going to last about 6 issues like the Black Knight did before they kill it. It's unwanted. I'm not recommending it. It's not going to make it. Don't buy it. Don't get any of the variants. Don't get food. Just do not touch this. There's other things you can be doing with your money better than this. Next up is a report on indie comics and small publishers. First up is Self Storage #5 from 451 Media. This is the comic publisher that's linked to Michael Bay, so speculators are thinking that these books might get turned into movies. Self Storage is a well-executed horror comic that's comparable to The Walking Dead. Next up, IDW is giving us Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas #1. This is based off of the classic novel by Hunter S. Thompson. It previously had been turned into a movie starring Johnny Depp back in 1998. They're finally bringing this to comics now. If you're a fan of the book or the movie, you'll love this comic. Next up is Image Comics giving us Monstress #6. This series has been nominated for Eisner for Best New Series and it's well deserved. I've been telling you about this book for months. If you're late to the bandwagon, go ahead and get on it now. Better late than never because this book is awesome. Issue #1 is selling for about $40 on eBay Raw and as high as $200 for a 9.8 CGC. This is Image's next saga in terms of commercial and critical acclaim. Next up is The Empty Zone #8 from Jason Sean Alexander, who's both writing and drawing this. This book should be a bigger hit than what it is. It's got ganglands full of animal-human hybrids, reanimated corpses, and a wild dystopian future. It's an action thriller and also a horror series mashup. If that's your thing, get issue #8 and then go find a trade paperback when it drops. Next up is Tokyo Ghost #7. Rick Remender is writing this and Sean Murphy is drawing it, and they're knocking it out of the park with this. I'm surprised why this isn't more popular as well. The events of this book take place 80 years in the future in New Los Angeles, where everyone's addicted to technology and they'll steal and kill for it like crackheads. Next up from Valiant Comics, it's Bloodshot Reborn #13. This is part of the Analog Man storyline. The events take place in a post-apocalyptic Los Angeles around the year 2045. The material is similar to Old Man Logan meets Mad Max. You can go back and get issue #10 where the storyline starts and you can get it for cover price. I highly recommend it. Even if you're not a Bloodshot fan, you can jump on to issue 10 and know what's going on and be highly entertained. And now our final book is the speculation pick of the week. And it is Divinity 2 issue #2. This title is beyond comics. It's top tier science fiction, for real. If you remember in a previous video, the top 10 comics of 2015, I listed Divinity #1 as numero uno. In the first 4-issue miniseries, it was Abram Adams shown here coming back to Earth with the powers of a god. In part 2, we're introduced to a fellow cosmonaut who also comes back to Earth with superpowers. Divinity has abandoned the mission in the name of the Soviet Union, but Mishka, the other cosmonaut with powers, has not. So they're going to clash and it's going to come down to blows. If you only buy one comic book this week, it better be this one. That's about it for today. Thank you for watching Wicked Wednesday, where I review all the new comic books for a new comic day. Be sure to follow my blog at comicpower.net. On social media, follow me at facebook.com/comicpower.net and comicpower-universe.tumblr.com. And don't forget twitter.com/comicpowersub. I also sell comics on eBay at this link. This is Comic Killer 72 for Comic Power saying bye-bye. forget to share this video, click on subscribe, give it a thumbs up, and tell everyone you know about this channel to help it grow. Thank you for your support.